It's a Fireside Chat, y'all.
Welcome back to another Fireside Chat, where we bring casual technology conversations to you. With us, I've got Marshall Hill, our very own solutions architect, and today we are talking two-factor authentication. So Marshall, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful to be on the show again. Thank you.
Yeah, two-factor authentication. I mean, one of the things that we hear and you hear in the marketplace all the time is that security is top of mind with everyone. So what's two-factor authentication? Why is it important?
Well, at its core, two-factor authentication is checking credentials. Are you who you say you are?
Mm-hmm.
Traditionally, you'll have a username and password. However, those can be compromised. So what can you do to improve that?
Well, yeah, and what I'm taking from this is two-factor authentication really helps, or I guess strengthens the password component.
It does. For validating, are you who you say you are? It adds another layer of security. Traditionally, that's through something you physically have. Could be a key fob. It could be, today everyone's carrying a smartphone, an iPhone, an Android phone, so it could be an application running on your smartphone. But having something physically greatly secures and validates that you are the one accessing it, rather than someone else that's remote, some other country, trying to pretend that they are you and accessing this possibly important data.
So basically, it's something you have and then something it creates your credentials, right?
That's right.
And so can I leverage two-factor authentication regardless of application? So for example, let me think of a common one people probably use out there is Office 365, Salesforce. Can I leverage this type of technology with those?
Yeah, so the most common use cases would be traditional VPN access. You may want to secure access to your network when people are remote. These could be employees, these could be contractors. And so offering a two-factor authentication can greatly secure VPN access. It's actually one of the primary requirements from a compliancy that we're seeing customers actually having to implement a two-factor authentication to meet PCI requirements, HIPAA, security, risk management, you name it. So that's one area that we see quite a bit. However, it doesn't need to stop there. Being able to offer additional security to your email system, that could be from Office 365, could be a file system like Dropbox or even Box, and you have sensitive data that's been now moving from a traditional corporate data center to cloud, from infrastructure as a service to software as a service. And how do you ensure that the right people are accessing this data?
Right.
And that, again, that's where two-factor authentication really addresses that need.
So it not only secures it from an authentication perspective, but it also ensures identity, like you are who you say you are.
That's right. And it's not uncommon where you might have a token on an endpoint like a laptop, and that becomes a form of identifying that device is able to access the data. You may take it a step further and say, well, the devices also have to be geolocated in certain regions, and other regions they will be walled off. You could take it as granular as when they're in the office, they have access to particular HR data. When they're remote, they have access to VPN, and they can get to certain other file systems, but they don't have access to the HR system. So there's a lot of sophistication that can go into an implementation and tailor it based on the customer's need. But really, at the simplest form, it's really trying to identify that the right person is accessing the data. And then from there, systems have improved to offer more granularity to that.
So we're talking two-factor authentication software, or the enablement of this technology. How do customers implement it? Is it cloud? Is it on-premise? Is it how does it deliver?
Well, we've seen quite a bit in the industry, being on the consulting side, and at least for myself, it's been a lot of on-prem using, which probably everyone knows, RSA.
Yep.
However, what I'm most excited about is trying to take some of that heavy lifting and shift it more towards a cloud enablement solution. And so one that I'm pretty jazzed about has been the Duo Security, the Duo two-factor authentication solution. Takes a matter of minutes to get up and running, as well as they have a ton of great documentation. They have documentation for almost every app that I've come across. If you have a Cisco ASA firewall running any Connect and you want to add two-factor authentication, their solution supports that. And not only that, they give you the how-to and what you need to configure on your ASA. They even give you the Cisco code of what you need to write on the CLI. So very impressive, information that they're providing, so that they take all that heavy lifting and implementation and just simplify it for the end user, so they can start realizing the solution and get value out of it quicker.
Oh, that's awesome. And what's the user experience like when using, let's say, for example, Duo? What's that experience like?
They support all the traditional methods, but I think the most innovative and easiest that I've seen from them has been their push, the Duo push solution. It's an application that you would run, say, on your smartphone. And when you log in to your application, say it's Dropbox or a web app of some sort, and you put in your credentials, it will pause the authentication, send a push notification to the app on your smartphone, and all you do is click accept. Simple. No copying some key or numeric value into your password field. You instantly get access, and the application then continues the authentication process, and you have access. You didn't have to type anything in. And so I think that's been one of the most well-received ways. I think, implementing a two-factor authentication, you are adding something new into an environment. And so the user experience and ensuring that there'll be a high adoption is critical. Yes, it may be mandated that you have to do something like a two-factor authentication for compliancy, but you still want your users to be productive. And so, I think that's been one of the most well-received methods. They still support the traditional, particularly if people don't have a smartphone, or they just don't want to go down that path. You can still get a key fob from them. You can, still get a text message, an SMS, even a phone call. So they support a lot of different methods of access.
But it sounds like the one you described is the push notification. That's
it's just too easy.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
But you still get the benefits of the security.
Yes.
But the ease of use, and I think that's what everyone's been going for. It's kind of like that happy place of.
It's difficult. I mean, security's always been a balance, a give and take. Do you add too much security and no one can even use the systems, or do you not offer enough and you risk, being vulnerable? So I think that having a company like Duo, as an example, really understand that, still provide the best security for a two-factor authentication solution, but keep in mind the end user's experience. It's definitely a refresher out there to see security still being able to be handled, and users actually being able to not be burdened or slow down their productivity.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming out today and talking with us about two-factor authentication.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So there you have it. Two-factor authentication, something you have, something you know. Ease of use, really to help secure applications and access to those applications. As everyone knows, digital security is top of mind. Again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can email us at firesidechat@lookingpoint.com. Thanks for watching.
It's a Fireside Chat, y'all.